everyone, Harris O'Malley from Dr. So, this is not one of my typical videos. Normally I like to be a bit more prepared, I like to write things down, I like to do a bit more production. What we're getting right now is far more just off the top of my head, off the cuff, here we go. Because I've got a lot of thoughts right now. And I'm not the guy who feels like he always has to chase the algorithm. I don't like doing that. I don't feel like I always have to have the hottest of hot takes. But every once in a while, a story will come up that it turns out I have a lot of thoughts about. And I want to get my thoughts out while people are still talking about it. In this case, Henry Cavill recently gave an interview with GQ Australia where he talked about, amongst other things, his love life, meeting women, and flirting in the era of metoo. And in the process, he managed to show the world his entire ass. In the article, he says, "There's something wonderful about a man chasing a woman. There's a traditional approach to that, which is nice. I think a woman should be wooed and chased, but maybe I'm old-fashioned for thinking that. It's very difficult to do that if there are certain rules in place, because then it's like, well, I don't want to go up and talk to her because I'm going to get called a rapist or something. So you're like, forget it, I'm going to go call an ex-girlfriend instead, and then just go back to a relationship which never really worked. But it's way safer than casting myself into the fires of hell, because I'm someone in the public eye, and if I go and flirt with someone, then who knows what's going to happen. Now you can't really pursue things further than no. It's like, okay, cool. But then there's the, oh, why'd you give up? And it's like, well, because I didn't want to go to jail? Cavill has apologized. He has realized he said something stupid and insensitive, and he has apologized for it. But the reason I bring all of this up is because he's not the only person I've ever heard say these things. I hear this all the time. I hear this from people who write to me. I see this on Twitter. I see this on web forums, and I hear it going about my day-to-day life. People who honestly think that they are not, quote-unquote, allowed to flirt with women anymore because they're going to put a foot wrong or say the wrong thing, and they're going to be accused of attempted rape or harassment or whatever. Dudes, this is literally not happening. But let's leave that aside and talk about what people are really saying when they say that. When they say that they feel like they can't flirt with someone for fear of being accused of rape or sexual harassment. What they're saying is that the way that they pursue women is indistinguishable from rape or sexual harassment, and that should fucking terrify you. Not because, oh, it's so unfair and look at these poor maligned men who are being unjustly accused, but because apparently there are guys who honestly don't know the difference between flirting and sexual harassment. Real talk, guys. Nobody is accidentally harassing someone. No one is going and tripping and oops, my hand accidentally brushed across your boob and going to jail. And nobody is talking with someone and they say something and they realize last second, oh wait, that could have been taken the wrong way, and now their job's in danger. That's not happening. Because women aren't stupid. Women can tell when you said something wrong and you didn't mean it. They can tell the difference between a guy who thought it was a awesome jokey joke to cop a feel versus someone who accidentally brushed against them. But let's take Henry Cavill and use him as an example, because there are a couple of things going on here. First, there's the part about him saying, well, I'm old-fashioned, and I believe women should be pursued. Dude, pursuit means they're running from you. If they're running from you, you're doing it wrong. You get no, and they say, well, that's okay. Well, yeah. That's how it's supposed to work. They've said they're not interested, and you say, okay, cool. Here's the thing. Despite what PUAs will tell you, despite what the red pill scene will tell you, despite what your uncle, your dad, your grandpa will tell you, women who tell you no are not saying no and meaning yes. Okay, I know that the book, The Rules, are still a thing out there, but for real, there is no woman out there who is playing hard to get in order to make you chase her and to make you prove that you really want it. There is no woman out there who is saying no when what she wants is for you to prove your devotion, your interest, that you are willing to make an effort. No one is doing that. When a woman is telling you no, what she is telling you flat out is that she's not interested. Dogged persistence. Works great in movies, does not work in real life. And please don't come at me with the story about how your dad, your sister, your brother, whatever, chased the same person for years and years, ignored all the time she said no, kept on going after her like Pepe Le Pew after the cat, and now they've been married for 20 years or whatever. Congratulations, it's like the lottery. 1 in 10 million people might win. Probably not you. But let's say for a hot minute that there is a woman out there who is telling you no, but wanting you to continue pursuing them. This is not someone you actually want to date. This is someone you want to run screaming from, because this is someone who is playing games. If they are actually doing this, if that is what is going on, if they said no, you said okay, and they said, wait, why aren't you still chasing after me? Then for the love of God, the best thing you can do is not play. You can go and pursue somebody else who isn't going to fuck around and who is going to communicate with you honestly, openly, and clearly. The other side of this is the idea that you can go up to someone and flirt with them innocently, and all of a sudden, they're going to be accusing you of harassment and rape and all sorts of horrible things. Over on Twitter, Lindsay Ellis put it really well. In a lot of cases, Me Too could just as easily be read the fucking room. Because the idea that men can't flirt with women because, oops, the women might think it's harassment is much more of an indictment of men than it is these mythical women who apparently just can't tell the difference between old-fashioned flirting and harassment. What's really happening is the dude is just making women profoundly uncomfortable. Here's an alternate take. If women consistently seem to think that you're harassing them when you're trying to flirt with them, maybe you suck at flirting. The thing that's a little, chin stroke weird is the way that guys seem to only lose their social intelligence when it comes to flirting with women. They never have this issue of mixed signals or just being friendly being interpreted as harassment or sexual assault when they're dealing with other guys. Or, for that matter, with people who have power over them. This is not something that's happening when they're interacting with, say, their boss, or a cop, or their professor, or the dean of students, someone who might reasonably inflict consequences on them. It's almost as though the real issue is they don't like hearing not interested and kind of hope that they can ignore it and plow through it and get a different answer. This isn't hyperbole, by the way. The red pillars and the PUAs literally teach this. Now, let's be real, there are times, it's gonna happen, it's happened to me, it'll happen to you, where you think someone is interested and you're flirting and you realize that, oh, no, they're not. When that happens, what you do is that you just stop and you apologize and say, oh, hey, I'm sorry, I thought I caught a vibe. But when you think there's something there and you're just not sure, the best thing you can do is use your words like a goddamn adult and just say, you know what? Maybe I'm completely off base here, and it's totally cool to say that I am, but I kind of feel like we're having a moment. And then they're going to say, yes, we are, or they're going to say, no, we're not, and you can proceed accordingly. Here's the thing. It's really easy not to get accused of rape. You do this by not raping people. And the same thing is true of sexual harassment. Nobody is accidentally harassing people out there. And the same thing is true about sexual harassment. You're not going to accidentally harass somebody just because you're awkward or you misread a signal. Harassment isn't flirting with someone or asking somebody out and it turns out, oops, they're not interested. It's treating them like an object, not as a person, and ignoring their discomfort, ignoring their wishes. And that includes making all your little jokey jokes that are obviously making them uncomfortable, even if everybody else is laughing. Or playful but unwanted butt grabs, or accidentally copping a feel. So, straight talk. The reason why so many guys are saying that they are afraid to go flirt with women now is because on some level they're realizing that they've gotten used to acting without the fear of consequence. Don't get me wrong, this isn't to say that every man has been acting with malicious intent or that every man has been getting away with harassment or worse. But the reason why so many people are feeling awkward is because they're starting to recognize that the odds are good that they have, at one point or another, pushed at lines that they shouldn't have been pushing. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. It is good that we are all starting to get really concerned with the possibility of crossing lines by accident. Because you know what? For the longest time, that was not a thing that we ever thought about. We only have to look back at the 80s to see when rape was a wonderful joke. And it's within living memory that sexual harassment was just something that you could expect to happen at work. It was just going to be part of a job. We are all starting to wake up to the fact that we have been living in a really, really fucked up world. And now that we are starting to acknowledge that, we can actually move towards learning empathy and that whole learning how to read the room thing. Yeah, for a lot of people, there is that sense of being hyper aware of what am I doing? It's a good thing that guys are starting to ask themselves, if I do this, am I going to be crossing a line? Am I going to be doing something wrong? Because yes, it is uncomfortable. This is a good thing because that is the discomfort that comes with enlightenment that's waiting to happen. It's recognizing that, yeah, we've all fucked up. We have all grown up in a fucked up system. And now that we are becoming aware of it, now that we are waking up to it, now we can recognize it, and now we can all start to fix things. And with that comes learning empathy, learning how to recognize discomfort, learning how to read signals, and learning how to be better. Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. So I've got more thoughts about this, and I'm going to have a video up at my regular time on Wednesday talking about the difference between flirting and harassment, recognizing the two, what you can do about it. So be sure to subscribe and check that out. Now, if you like this kind of video, this more off-the-cuff, more impromptu sort of thing, let me know, hit the thumbs up, and if you really have some thoughts about it and you want to see more like this, tell me about it in the comments below. Share your thoughts. I'd like to hear them. If it's really popular, I'll do some more like this. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Dr. NerdLove. Join the Facebook page at facebook.com/Dr. NerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my latest videos, and I will be back with you next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.